We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and I'm just asking questions such as why it's a news story that Google has reversed its quote-unquote ban on AI for weapons and surveillance, and they're calling this a blow to human rights. I've got news for everybody out there that doesn't understand how the real world works. Google was really shepherded and created as an AI weapon system, a Trojan horse civilian system from its very inception. That there is no doubt about that. And we're going to take it step by step. And if anybody wants to read the documentation in full, you can do that. It is out there. This, to me, is worrisome in the fact that it is normalizing the idea of AI weapon systems, death from above, automated death. We are going to get into Eric Schmidt and his history, not only with Google, but obviously with the national security apparatus, the Defense Department, the privatized weapons community, and really also as a key figure in Bilderberg, a steering member for a very, very long time. And remember, they just had the ex-head of NATO, Stoltenberg, come in as a steering member, giving them a little bit more power over who else they're bringing in and what narratives they truly want to focus on. All of this should be really, really concerning to everybody, but in order to kind of understand where we're going in the future, I think that people need to understand the past. And again, part of that past is that this thing, top to bottom, has always, let me repeat it again, always been a Trojan horse civilian system. There can be no doubt about that, period. I mean, that's it. And we're going to go down the line. We're actually going to show you some videos of Schmidt, and we're going to go pretty deep on this one, but it's going to be quick enough. We're not going to try to make this an overtly long video. Folks, if you can, I need your support, $5, $10, $15. It does mean the world to me. Consider buying me a coffee. Also, share the links. Watch the documentary films. And let's kick it off right here, because this is really where it all begins. If you'll notice right here, this is an article back in July and August of 1998 that shows you the DARPA NASA Digital Libraries Initiative, okay? The National Science Foundation and their Advanced Research Project Agency, aka DARPA. Remember, back in the day, even prior to DARPA, it was known as ARPA, and the ARPANET, the original internet, is created by them. Now, they have this initiative to try to digitize the vast majority of the public information around the world. And in the very beginning, through this initiative, is the funding that goes to Brin and Page and Google. Now, Schmidt will come in slightly later than that. Just slightly. 2001, Schmidt begins his journey with Google. But I really need that to sink in, because before you get into In-Q-Tel sinking in money, and they really aggrandize Schmidt's role in this, and he was their connections guy and very much their mouthpiece on a lot of things. Continues to be. They've tried to move him around due to various scandals, whether it was the initial censoring the internet via their Chinese search browser, Dragonfly. That was a big thing. Later on, there were inappropriate sexual conduct allegations during the Me Too thing. That happened to him. And remember, Google has a larger company called Alphabet. So they would move him there as well, in Alphabet and in and out. I assure you, because of the intelligence connections, in many ways, his management has never stopped. People need to grow up and understand that. I was going to say that was weird that happened, but here we're going to go. So right here is a PDF going back to the 80s on the policy issues and interconnecting networks. I mean, this is where you can really understand where they were going with advanced computer science via NASA, via DARPA, and what would evolve into this. So again, you want to go even further back, right? Like I said, the records are out there. You see what I'm saying? The policies and models, the electronic messaging, you understand, multicast communications. It's all right here. The routing modules, they shepherded Google and other companies like it. So there's a great article also out there on the quote-unquote true origin story that partly lies with the CIA and NSA research grants for mass surveillance. Bingo, bango, bongo. But what we really have to understand is, after all is said and done, very, very early on, Google and NASA get together for quantum computing and artificial intelligence publicly. I mean, you go back to partnerships all the way back in 2006. Kurzweil, transhumanism. They open up a department called Calico. And all this stuff is not only driven by AI, but narrative management. They swallow up YouTube, the largest video platform out there. Again, it's always been an artificial intelligence weapon system. Those weapons haven't always been hot, but certainly they evolved into that visually, with people walking out once they were part of AI drone programs. And by the way, in one of these videos, thinking like the first 7 minutes of this conference, where Eric Schmidt is, on the main screen, he talks about these weapons and that AI is just going to decide. This is 2023. All right, and we're in a world where lavender has existed now. So once again, we have to also acknowledge that after this public partnership, okay, and again, when you see Schmidt and how involved he is with the Defense Department and that initiative, again, they're locked in together and always have been. Okay, so in 2019 they declared quantum supremacy, and all of this quantum computing is also involved in artificial intelligence. Okay, now when we're talking artificial intelligence and NASA right now, while they tell you in the commercials it's about the moon and Mars, in their own public statements, documents, articles that are out there. I mean, the vast majority about what you're about to see is on their own site. Okay? But they're going to utilize it for satellite weather forecasting with artificial intelligence. Okay? Grants there. See, they work with the universities. This goes to Penn State. You understand? And then they're going to block other types of artificial intelligence models. And first of all, they're not only going to demonize it, but a lot of that stuff is stolen from the public models that NASA, DARPA helped create. Period. That's another part of this. There's a lot of rhetoric, and there's some reality as why they're banning DeepSeek. But I'm using that to illustrate the point that they want to lock this down, because they've been utilizing AI for a very long time, and now they're rolling it out, just like they're saying they're rolling back on AI defense systems, because all this stuff is going to start becoming visual to us. All right? So things that have been going on for a very long time are now going to happen if they're allowed to in rapid fashion. And that's under the Trump administration as well. We talk about space biology research. I often talk about this. See, this is machine learning that we're getting into, AI, space biology training. These are the hydrogels that we've talked about. These are genomics. These are the xenotransplantation stuff. This is on their own site. So anybody can go check this out right now. All right, you can go check out what they're going to do for space biology research. Very easy. Also, on their own site, navigation systems, GPS systems with computer vision, total surveillance. But this surveillance is going to be posed as a way that it's going to help the environment. The climate change agenda is also very real. And just like with academia and with the relationship with Google, right, there's many more companies out there, and especially with this agenda-driven narrative. So AI for Earth, how NASA's artificial intelligence and open science efforts combat climate change. When they say open science efforts, that's buying off academia. That's that's interwoven with the companies that would benefit from the carbon footprint narrative, right? Here's the NASA and IBM research applying AI to weather and climate. And we could talk about weather weapons and weather manipulation and solar radiation management all day. NASA are pioneers of this narrative. And Google also, what? Pushes that narrative. You get a big, nice, fat fact check on a YouTube video if you dare question the dogma of quote-unquote climate change, right? You see how it's always been an AI information weapon system, period? All right, now, when we talk about capturing science, it's going on right now. They got these workshops, and these workshops are largely driven with this climate agenda, right? That's really when we're talking biosciences, right? So, again, surveillance, orbital, quote-unquote, optics, and they're going to sell you that they're getting the Earth and beyond, and this is going to be about space travel. Give me a break. No, it's all about scalable machine learning, using data that NASA takes and uses artificial intelligence for. Again, on their own site. And, here it is right here, the artificial intelligence for life in space. They're going to sell you on this. The digital twin system, for instance. The virtual system. We've talked about digital twins in the past. NVIDIA running digital twins of factories, etc. In fact, creating the virtual factory before they create the real one, and then in conjunction with the real one, running the digital twin. And that way, they say that they can predict failures first before it happens in the real factory, etc., etc., etc. This is big with NASA. All right, and they're going to sell you on these models taking us to space. That's imagination land. And I'm not talking about the possibility of other technologies and us being farther than the ISS and that type of exploration through other propulsion systems, those are a possibility. I think in many cases, we do have separate propulsion systems, different types of drone technology that are quite automated in that arena that we're not told about. But human beings in space, that's a different shebango. Okay, we've had that discussion here. It's worth having. All right. So continuing on with this AI climate change narrative, this is going to be one of the guys spewing it for you, right? Through these facilities that are all over the place. The hydrosphere, biosphere, geophysics, earth science dictorate, duty station at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility on Virginia's Eastern Shore. You understand? And the other big thing is that NASA is in the ocean as well. Lots of stuff going on there. Lots of parallels. Okay? So let's talk really quickly about Israel, and we're going to circle back to that with Eric Schmidt just in a moment. Israel AI visualization startup deployed by NASA plans to list on the NASDAQ. So again, this company that's shepherded by NASA goes out to Israel, becomes part of their weapon systems, is now going public on the NASDAQ. This is globalism right in our face. And that's often when I talk about 9/11, an international intelligence operation. I talk about Five Eyes a lot and these allegiances and alliances. This is part of it, right? It's the same thing. They want that competition from China or they wouldn't have the technology. They're doing business everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? So, former Google CEO, again, they try to do the former thing. This guy is as Defense Department involved as you get. Discusses AI on its impacts on national security, big time with Kissinger, etc. Right here, and this is Forbes last year reporting on it, you're talking about AI drone warfare. It's a big thing on Eric Schmidt, working on the secret military drone project. Now, before we get to that, I thought that we would start with this little bad boy here, because we've talked about Lavender AI. It's probably the most public usage of AI weapon systems out there, in the fact that it targeted 34,000 people that you and I don't have a list for. So this is old school. I think this is like 2013, 2014. This is Bibby giving his Google contribution. Okay, so we're just going to play this. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. And remember, the links are down below to support the broadcast. Here's the Bibster.
This is my contribution.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
We have the Israeli flag.
The Israeli flag.
And a guy sitting in the sun enjoying himself. And this is the latest Nobel Prize that we have of subcrystals. This is the last.
Crystal infrastructure.
Quasi-crystals, which was done by Professor Schmidt, who won the Nobel Prize. So this is Israel. Science, sun, and Google.
Perfect. Let me just show you. That's right. I think we have a budding artist at Google in the form of Bibi Netanyahu.
This is the end of my artistic achievements.
That's great.
This is
so Bibi planting the flag at Google, if you will. I don't know how many people are aware of that one right there. So we're going to move on, okay? And here, we're not even really going to go that far. I'll probably jump in around 12 so you can just kind of get it how casual this is. But this is the next 5 years of defense innovation. And although it's at a forum, it ends up being like a Zoom call that they zoom in on. Here, we'll go to it right now. Defense Innovation Unit presents Schmidt Brown Zegert. Oh, yeah. Recorded. This is 2021, by the way. So, once again, the military, Google, the defense part, Department, even during the COVID 1984 nightmare, totally involved with one another, just in your face. Here, well, let's skip to some Schmidt. We're skipping to some random Schmidt because
in the middle of the Bush administration, basically. Sorry, the Trump administration, excuse me. And so what they're doing is directly aligned with that list. The problem is that there is not a receiver on the inside of the DoD for the DIU. So the presence of the DIU was necessary, but it's not sufficient. There is, in fact, a valley of death between DIU and the rest of the military, which I abbreviate as the POM. And for those of you that don't know what the POM is, it's called the Program of Record. And it is a process that can only be described as slow. So the way the process works is the country plan our military spending now for 2 years from now, right? As though we can't make that decision for this year. And the result is the whole system moves very, very slowly. And so the reality of these brilliant projects is they don't know how to fit into this, as I said, Byzantine also in terms of time process. And there are various exceptions and authorities that exist inside the various services that the services are either unable or unwilling to take advantage of that could accelerate it. So that's, to me, the leadership problem is it's a time problem. In other words, I almost don't care if they get the decision right. I just care if they make the decisions faster and then they can iterate.
That's a great idea. Who cares if we get it right? Let's just speed it right up, especially with the Defense Department, artificial intelligence, weapon system. So here, Schmidt is the keynote speaker, and we might go a little bit. This is 2023. We're moving in chronological order. We might go a little deeper on this one because this is where he does talk about AI drones in like the first 7 or 8 minutes. Again, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Remember, we got extra videos over at the other platforms, so follow over on X and check out the Rumble as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Dr. Eric Schmidt. He served as Google CEO from 2001 to 2011. Under his leadership, Google grew from a very small startup to a large global company. He served as the inaugural chairman of the Defense Innovation Board from 2016 to 2020. And in 2021, he founded the Special Competitive Studies Project with a clear mission: to make recommendations to strengthen America's long-term competitiveness for a future where AI and other emerging technologies reshape our national security, economy, and society. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Eric Schmidt.
Think about that. We're going to reshape our economy and society. Wow, fantastic. Oh, he's not on there. Look.
I think we've got you on mute. So.
Yeah, we got you on mute there, buddy. Come on. It's not AI. He's human.
First, thank you for having me be here. I'm in Seattle surrounded by boats, which I always think is excellent. In the last decade, I've had a chance to work with people all throughout the services and the people in our national defense. And these are the best of America, the men and women that serve our nation, represented by you all. I just have an enormous amount of respect. And for the people. I do not, however, have any respect at all for the system that we take these brilliant people and put them in. So let me start by saying the people are incredible.
But we need more AI. Like that's what the gist of this is. First of all, you placate to the individual, and then you attack the system because you're going to actually be replacing the individuals if your plans go to
and the stuff that they make you all do is not. And so I've emerged as a person who is thinking about how to rethink the way we do our military strategy and innovation. So I got interested in it because, I'm a computer scientist. I don't really know anything about the military when I started. And I now understand that we have a shrinking national advantage, and that the time of my youth, your youth, our youth, we were sort of the dominant player. Everyone else.
Shrinking national advantage because of guys like you and your best buddy Kissinger, all right, that have been the forefathers of modern day globalization in both the political and technological arenas. And all of that obviously interweaves with the economic and social arenas that were just discussed.
Sort of catching up. And in my view, we're not leading strong enough. We're still the strongest, but we're not leading in the ways that I care about. And that's my comment. And I think it has to do with a change in how national security and conflict will go going forward for the next, in my view, 1,000 years, at least 100 years longer than our lives together. And the doctrine that you all were raised on is basically hard power, soft power. And hard power is basically you do what I want or I'll shoot you. Sorry to simplify many, many books on this. And soft power is the power of economics, influence, culture, and so forth, both of which are important and occasionally necessary. But what I concluded was that we missed something, which I call innovation power. And I got interested in this largely because every time I was in the Pentagon, the government, some general or admiral would talk about near peer competitors. That's a phrase the military likes to use. And I decided I didn't agree with that. I thought that China was a peer, not a near peer. And the question was, why did I believe this? Because obviously it's a quarter of the military budget, although that's increasing. They are not a global navy. They're untested in battle since 1977 and so forth. But what I realized was that China was defining the platforms that I cared about.
Yeah, because you worked with them. That's the whole thing. And look, when I say you, I don't just mean Google. I don't just mean Eric Schmidt. I mean that quote-unquote cabal that has the agenda of globalization, authoritarianism, and really what has been mouthed out loud by the World Economic Forum and other globalists when they say that China is the model, and that guy has helped. You know, he's not a friendly. Let's just say it that way. Folks, before we wrap it up, I saw in the chat something that is very upsetting and rather tragic. Karen M., who has been a mod here for years and years and years and really thrown her support behind this broadcast and the broadcast of many other in independent media that, really need people like her just to kind of help things along, has passed away. And, I don't know the exact details. I saw it in the chat, and I would just like to, tell her rest in peace. And she and her work just helping out was very, very much appreciated. And I'm sure that, she touched not only the lives of individuals within the chat, but many that surrounded her. So it also lets me know we've all only got so much time on this planet. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. And I'm going to continue to do the right thing and try to expose the lies of those that I believe are trying to do the wrong thing. That's going to about do it for the broadcast. You know the drill. The links are down below to support it. All the documentary films are free. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Shade the Motion Picture, and Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. It's not about left or right, always about right and wrong. I love you guys, and we'll see you on the flip side.